This is also from France 24. So I guess Stephen Colbert, is done with the Late Show finally. Stephen Colbert is like my mom's favorite person. Like she lost. And so I used to watch Colbert back when I was more of a liberal, like back in like I don't know 2015, 2016 maybe. I have a hard time watching Colbert nowadays though. It's just very annoying. I don't know. And sometimes like when they're just doing like normal, like everyday late show stuff, I don't really mind it that much. But I do think that like when they do delve into the world of politics, I just get so frustrated because they're like so, I don't know, man. I just get annoyed with them, but that's just the nature of late night shows. That's the nature of these like liberal institutions. I'm probably always going to find them annoying since I'm like, since I'm an anti-capitalist at this point, it's like hard for me to really enjoy liberal institutions like that much anymore. But let's go ahead and watch this and see what's going on.
And some say it's the end of an era as U.S. Late Show host Stephen Colbert signs off on his last program and the lights go dark at New York's Ed Sullivan Theater. A huge crowd had gathered outside to say farewell. Colbert hosted the show since 2015.
Wrong. Colbert. Right? Like you can't do it wrong already. You should have someone covering this who at least has seen the show, I feel like.
But CBS canceled it last year after Colbert mocked the broadcaster for settling a lawsuit with Trump, calling it a big fat bribe. CBS has insisted its decision was purely financial.
Bullshit.
We've got some reaction now to his final show.
Who's going to be my last guest now?
Hey, Steve, what about me?
Thank God you're here and I need you the most.
We came to say we're gonna miss you.
Dude, this is straight up like if you've ever seen that Office episode where they do the skits, like it was like season 7, I think, when Michael Scott was leaving the Last Undies, when they're doing the skits. Like this is giving that vibe right now.
Late night is not gonna be the same without you. You say yes, I say no.
Am I wrong?
But I say
Well, to discuss this further, our international affairs commentator Douglas Herbert is here. So the lights go out, as we said. What's the significance of this moment?
Well, it's much more than an end to just a popular late-night television show, because Stephen Colbert clearly redefined the political genre of political satire. He started in an era where comedians would satirize politics, and then politics began satirizing itself.
Okay. So he's talking about like, okay, there was Jon Stewart and then there was Colbert, right? I think in hindsight, I probably like Jon Stewart better, generally speaking. However, I probably at the time liked Colbert's stuff better. But I'm thinking back to that time period, right? When Colbert and Jon Stewart were popping off as like, going up against like Fox News, or essentially just making fun of like Fox News characters like Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and stuff. And they would do like debates with these goobers. And I don't know, we were just so politically unaware back then that I think people thought of that as politics. And that was just like debate lord bullshit. That didn't change anything. And man, it's like crazy. It's like a whole other world to think about those shows back then, how irrelevant they would be at this point in time. how I don't know, man. It just feels like we're in a completely different era. This is kind of wild. I'm thinking back to like how I thought back then too and stuff. And like I just don't even know if I would recognize myself in terms of like my current I mean, obviously America is like so far like down the like fascist pipeline as well. I don't know if obviously like this sort of like liberal debate lord sort of style, or like not even debate lord, but like liberal commentary politics is so irrelevant, I think, at this point to at least the younger generation as to being anything. Sorry, I think one of my cats is like fussing, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing to think back on.
So he transcended, and he also straddled the entire Trump years. His rising to the helm at CBS at The Late Show and taking over from David Letterman back in 2015 coincided with Trump going up that golden escalator, and he was really at The Late Show during all of the Trump years, with Biden in between, obviously. You said, is it the end of an era? The chief television critic of the New York Times asked, well, maybe the era ended him. And what he's really meaning there is what a lot of people watching this sense is that there's a clear political dimension. Yes, CBS, as you said, cited financial reasons, but a lot of people, and especially Colbert's fans.
Well, it's CBS, like it's Bari Weiss's owned. I wouldn't doubt that there was some political coercion to do this. I just don't really care that much, to be honest. I don't think of these liberal shows as being like bastions of truth telling, and I don't think of them as in any way challenging actual power at all. I think they're feel goods, like they do like feel good shit for resistance libs. Like that's kind of like how the vibe that I get. Sorry, mom. Like I'm sorry. That's the vibe that I get. Like I don't think that they really have any sort of like they don't challenge power at all. They don't they barely like I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not really losing sleep over it. I don't really care. Get another person in there, it'll probably be very similar. Colbert is entertaining. He's charismatic, so there's that.
Think the timing is very suspicious, given the fact that there had been CBS's parent company, making in the course of an acquisition, wanting to endear itself perhaps to Trump's Federal Communications Commission, get a good deal. So there's a lot of politics. It's financial, sure, there might be financial reasons. The media landscape's changing, broadcast television's changing. People are now in their little, bracketed ecosystems in their own bubbles, but also political. The sense among Colbert's fans, what made him different, the reason his star showed very bright in the sort of the galaxy of late night hosts, he brought a sort of empathy and compassion and a sense of humanity. One person said that he had a unique ability to be human. And a lot of his fans would say things. You listen to what they say. He used humor to bring joy and to hold power accountable. And his punchlines are almost like an act of resistance.
That's what I'm saying, man. It is. I think it's a lot of feel good shit. It's not as feel good as like Jimmy Fallon, I guess, or Ellen DeGeneres. Like, it is a lot of like feel good nonsense, like humor that is not very challenging or, in my opinion, not very interesting. And these, like, he's talking about it as like an act of resistance. And that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of like resistance liberals feel like he has some sort of like he is actually in some way challenging power or challenging Trump. I just don't think so, man. I just don't think so. He might be getting canceled because of like political grievances, but that's because Trump is just a narcissistic, like petty person. And and CBS might be getting rid of him, in order to acquiesce to that narcissism or to that pettiness. But he's not getting rid of him because he thinks that Colbert is going to like convince all of the wine moms across the country to like rise up and take up arms against the government or something. Like I don't think they're really that afraid of of these people in any way, shape, or form of actually like challenging power. I think what they're more scared of are the the more individual, non-corporate aligned personalities on the internet. The people like, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say Hassan, right? Like, I think they're actually scared of Hassan, judging by how many articles are written by every institution against him. There's not that many institutions that are writing articles against Colbert. And so, like, I think that they're much more scared of like individual commentators who aren't corporate backed and don't necessarily have the same incentive structure that a lot of these people have, if I had to guess.
He made people, in the words of one fan, feel less insane at a time when the country, the United States, seems to be losing its mind. And people would all come together and sort of coalesce around his show. Like I said, it was a rendezvous. It was a place where you could still have a political space to express yourself. He got a lot of accolades from a lot of smart, creative, intelligent people. Bruce Springsteen, had said to him just a few nights ago on his show, basically joking that you are the first guy in America who lost his show because we got a president who couldn't take a joke. So you had a lot of that. And what's interesting is one media critic said that future historians who are looking to understand the Trump era, rather than going through all the backclip newspaper, articles and stuff, would do very well to watch Stephen Colbert's monologues, because they really seem to encapsulate it. But I think the big takeaway is this sense of humanity.
Man. If you want, I guess if you want to understand maybe the daily existence of this time, that's not a terrible idea. But I think that, I don't know, maybe that would be a good way to get, maybe that would be fine, I guess, if you want to understand the daily existence. But I don't think historians usually care that much about understanding the daily existence of these time periods. I think they care more about the broad strokes, like what's happening. And I think that that'll be found in, the big aspects of Trump. This might be a footnote in there potentially, but
humanity and a sense that he was everything for his fans that Trump never was. He didn't have vainglory. He wasn't about himself. He was a man who really was able to be personal with his subjects and to really empathize with them and what they've lived and what they've experienced.
And now, this isn't, though, Doug, just a U.S. thing, is it? We're kind of seeing this across the board?
Yeah, we are. I mean, yes, in the U.S., the fans of Colbert Show, they're saying this is sort of a big sign in an ongoing campaign by Trump, his all-out assault on critical dissenting voices and on democracy itself. But let's bring it across the pond, right here in France. You do have a coalescing, it seems, in recent years of right-wing, far-right media around one is a big empire in particular. I sort of liken it maybe to the Murdochs in the past, or in the U.S., the David and Larry Ellisons at the head of these big media conglomerates. A Breton billionaire named Vincent Bolloré has sort of accumulated in his big media portfolio as
yeah, I mean, it's media consolidation. That's what it is. It's media consolidation. It's the natural state of capitalism. Like, if you're not willing to stop this from happening, like, to be honest, I don't really like that news organizations can really be for profit at all. Personally, I kind of think that news organizations should either be like nonprofits, or they should be like publicly owned, or they should be co-op structures. Like, I really don't like the profit incentive for news media. But then also, not only that, I also don't like the I don't think that they should be able to be individually owned at all, because I don't think any individual should have that much power over the that much power and control over the dissemination of information. I also don't think that companies like social, in the same vein, I don't necessarily think social media companies and stuff should be like individually owned either, because of that exact same reason. because I just don't think that like, and so like putting them as nonprofits is like one way that would, I think, disincentivize billionaires from buying these things. But also I think that I could see that they have like the desire to use them as tools to accumulate capital. Like they would take a loss on like buying a social media company or a news organization so that they can, pump out their propaganda and then, make money in their other endeavors. So sort of like the Elon Musk Twitter model, essentially. So, but yeah, okay, I'm going to move on now. I think that's good enough on Colbert.